Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Overload. I am Peter, that is Matt, and every month I pick a film that I love, Matt picks a film that he loves, and we put them up for a vote on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, and our patrons will pick which one we're going to do. And this month, they unfortunately voted for Matt's choice, which was The Lost Boys.
Which I gave Pete a pick. He could either watch Sleepy Hollow or The Lost Boys, because he puts together this whole thing. I just show up to talk. And he picked Lost Boys as he said it was the lesser of two evils.
It is the lesser of two evils. I feared that either one would win no matter what, though, because they're the sort of movies that people like. I hate them, but people like them. And
what was it up against?
We could have been sitting here talking about Flight of the Navigator, Matt. And I'd be,
man, I'm a little bit sad about that one.
Yeah, I would happily be sitting here talking about Flight of the Navigator.
I mean, hey. You picked Lost Boys over Sleepy Hollow, which, I mean...
Yeah, you keep saying that, though, but that's just because Sleepy Hollow's worse.
It's a top Tim Burton movie. You don't have to like Tim Burton, and you can like Sleepy Hollow.
But I don't like Sleepy Hollow.
I see there's no pleasing you, to quote Dr. Evil.
There's no pleasing me when the choice is Sleepy Hollow or The Lost Boys, that's for sure.
Nah, it's a good choice. Oh, that's too
fun.
fun.
It's a good choice. To quote the angry video game there, I'm neck deep in piss, and someone's going to throw a bucket of shit on top of me. Do I dunk down and be in the piss, or do I stay up and take on the shit? That is the choice here for me.
Pee is 99.9% sterile, whereas shit is not, so you dunk. That's clearly what you do. Just science.
Oh yeah, because that much thought went into it. Alright, so good job with The Lost Boys, and I've probably already turned off most people who's clicked on this because, wait, he hates The Lost Boys? What? Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
it's Joel Schumacher, your favorite Batman director.
Piss off. Now, I mean, I like him more than Zack Snyder, but the point being, look, so we start spoiler free as we always do. We'll give you a warning in the middle before we get to spoilers, right? I'll get that out of the way. Now hate's a harsh word. I don't hate The Lost Boys, right? I think it's overrated. I think it's very overrated. That
is fair. That I would totally agree, because it's not it's a fun 80s movie. It's hard for me to take a hard line. I can understand how people don't like certain 80s movies. But I mean, I don't love it as much as I love let's say Bill and Ted. But I can't imagine anybody hating Bill and Ted. You know?
I didn't really like Bill and Ted though.
Yeah, but you didn't hate it.
Okay, I didn't hate it, sure, but they fall into similar places for me, I guess.
But I get it. You're a I don't want to say you're a vampire guy. We do call you a vampire because of the odd hours you keep and lack of sunlight most days.
The day calls for it. The day calls for it, but. So now here's the thing, right? I don't even necessarily think Lost Boys is a bad movie. There's just lots of things about the Lost Boys that really annoy me. Really annoy me.
So I did some research for this, and I came across an article that suggests without the Lost Boys and the reintroduction of making vampires cool and young and hip, there is no Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm sorry. What version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer did everyone watch where the vampires were all hip and cool? What version of the show were people watching?
I'm just saying, up until this point, vampires were very Bela Lugosi, prim and proper. Here, it makes them I don't want to say normal because they're vampires, but they could be anybody. There was this element of Kiefer Sutherland here, David. You don't know at the beginning. I mean, sure, you're watching a vampire movie. You're probably sure he's a vampire, but you don't peg him automatically as one that's Whereas you look at Bela Lugosi as Dracula, and you're like, oh yeah, that dude. That dude's up to something.
I hate this argument though, because just because something only, I mean, I don't think this is true, to be honest. I think Buffy would quite happily exist even without the Lost Boys. I actually don't agree with that. But even if it did, let's even say Joss Whedon came out and said, no, I was inspired by the Lost Boys, which I don't think he's ever said. He has said he's inspired by Night of the Comet, which I think is a very interesting comment.
That's strange, but I could see the dynamics.
It's because of the lady lead, more than the what the actual
Gotcha.
villain is. But
Gotcha.
You can see where it comes from. Anyway, I hate that argument. I hate the idea. I hate when people tell me, "Oh, well, you love Firefly. If Star Wars wasn't around, you wouldn't have Firefly." I know that. I know Firefly wouldn't exist. Firefly is an answer to Star Wars, but
right.
I don't care.
I say this. I think this is the difference between you and me, where I try to look at things with a historical perspective. That's history is my niche. So I think that's pretty interesting that I could trace back vampire movies and see there's a definite change after Lost Boys to make vampires like sexy and cool and not these old, dusty guys and ladies.
And for the record, while we're on this subject, Lost Boys was not even the best vampire movie the year it came out.
Okay, so what was better than Lost Boys?
Near Dark is a much better film than Lost Boys.
I haven't seen Near Dark. Is that the vampire western?
Vampire western, Catherine Bigelow directing. It has like 3 cast members from Aliens in it. Adrian Pasdar as well.
Huh.
Bill Paxton is a gem in that movie. Absolute gem.
Weird that James Cameron's wife would use actors that he used.
I don't know if they were married at the time though. I don't think they were.
You don't think so? Because I know.
I want to say he was married to Gail Ann Hurd at the time.
Oh, okay. I don't know the time.
He's been married like 4 times though, so I don't know when all these divorces were.
I just know that I had heard that Sarah Connor in T2 was kind of based off of Catherine Bigelow. The whole, no nonsense. Let's get this down.
You know what? I'm going to look it up, right? I'm just going to look up James Cameron Wikipedia. I want to know when he was married to who, because he's had like 4 wives.
Oh, so here we go.
He's got a temper, so people keep leaving him.
I mean, yeah, but he's James Cameron.
Right, hold on.
Yeah, he's a complicated man. I would love a miniseries.
No, I was right. No, this was pre Catherine Bigelow. Catherine Bigelow did not marry him until 1989.
Okay, well, so it still could be true then that.
Although I was incorrect. He's had 5 wives. He's on his 5th. But to be fair though, he's been married to this woman since 2000. So this one's lasting, whereas the rest of them are all really short.
Well, it's because he's been so busy making 4 movies in 20 years. Like,
well, no, I wonder if it's to do with the fact that he's marrying people who aren't necessarily
in the business.
Oh no, this woman is actually an actress apparently, but whatever. But maybe he hasn't worked with her specifically though, as opposed to Gail Ann Hurd, who was his producing partner, Catherine Bigelow, who is another director. I don't know if they ever actually worked together, admittedly. And Linda Hamilton obviously was in Terminator 1 too. But like, anyway, why are we going down this path? This is your fault for making stupid comments.
I'm just bringing up an interesting comment that I found that I can see truth in. I can see that Whedon's like, oh man, these type of vampires versus, a Valley Girl. Like, I could see his gears turning,
Yeah, but the difference is Joss Whedon's characters are likable.
Oh, tell me the Frog Brothers aren't likable.
They're the best part of the movie, I'll give you that.
Here's another fun fact, since we're in the spoiler free section, and I don't want to go too down into the story hole. But originally this was meant to be directed by Richard Donner. As you see, he produced this, and it was meant to be more like Goonies, in that the Lost Boys was a reference to the title characters, and they were going to be like way younger. They're going to be like 9-10 years old, going on an adventure. And Donner passed to go do something else. I can't remember what it was. And they brought in Joel Schumacher, who decided to crank up the, quote, sexiness, if you will.
It was probably Lethal Weapon, given the year.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so it completely changed. And you can still kind of see the Goonies vibe in the Frog Brothers, because they're almost from a different movie by the time they show up.
Even Haim's character, who's like the main little brother, he is acting far too young for his age in this movie.
Yeah.
And the way everyone talks to him and treats him, he's acting far too young for his age. There's a point where he's with his big brother, and his big brother's like, caught the eye of his love interest, right? And he looks at the little brother who's like annoyed that his big brother's not paying attention to him, and I'm like, no, at that age he should be like equally gawking at her, like what what is this?
Well, he should be like, in Goonies where Mikey's kind of vying for the attention of Andy a little bit, even though she's totally into Bran.
Oh sure, yeah. But he's acting like he's like 8, but he's actually like 13, 14 or whatever age he is.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting thing, and I could totally see Schumacher not addressing any of that in the script. Him just going, "Yeah, we'll shoot it like it is," because Schumacher's that type of director. I think we've talked about him before. Back in an incarnation of 2021, where he doesn't really have a style. Like, you don't look at something and go, "Oh, that's a Joel Schumacher movie," because his movie choices are all over the place.
Oh yeah, they're all very different. None of them really feel
because there's The Lost Boys, and there's Batman Forever, and there's Falling Down. Like, none of those movies are the same. Well, I guess you can say Batman Forever and Lost Boys, but there's not many similar qualities in those.
Yeah. No, so we're arguing your stupid point about this being responsible for Buffy. I dispute that. Extremely. I don't really care that much though. I mean, honestly, like, okay, sure, that made vampires like normal everyday people. I don't think that's as important though as necessarily as everything else that's in Buffy. But I mean, we'll get off this topic.
Oh no, neither do I. But I can just see where this started the wave, and then Buffy crested it. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see the comparison with the Buffy movie more than the show though.
Yeah.
The Buffy, right, but the Buffy movie feels like it's more in the vein of this than it does anything else.
I mean, just look at Paul Rubens in that movie,
Yeah, but I would say that the Buffy movie is as equally forgettable as this is.
True. I mean, when I say Buffy, I'm just meaning the overall, as she's become a pop culture, like, it made monsters like cool versus think about it before that.
Did it?
I think so. Like,
that's not really what I think about when I think of Buffy.
See, I do. That's what I think of the monsters in Xander and his witty remarks and whatnot, and like, it made it light and fun. I
don't know. I think I disagree with how you.
I'm not a Buffy scholar.
Yeah, I think I disagree with how you see Buffy.
No, that's fine. I mean, I've only seen the show once in some random reruns, I mean, so it's not like.
I mean, Spike's kind of cool, and Angel, I guess. I mean, but Angel's the kind of this mopey, broody guy. I don't really see him as
Angel
cool.
only gets interesting once he gets his own show. That's once he goes off to LA and starts Angel Investigations, then I'm into Angel. But.
Yeah, but I don't like anything else in the show though. I can't think of a single big bad who was cool.
The mayor was super cool.
He was he's great, but he's not cool. He was cheesy. He was a dad. It was full of bad dad jokes. That's what the mayor was.
He was evil Phil Dunphy.
Under no circumstance is that cool.
Yeah, then it gets murky because that's the last thing I really remember, because then I stopped watching the show as frequently after the main and Faith. Faith was cool. You gotta give me Faith.
She's not a monster though.
Oh yes, she is.
Not the context we're just talking about them.
True. I'll give you that one. Oz was cool. All right. Tell me he wasn't a monster.
Okay, all right, fine. He became a werewolf. Okay, it's a bit of a stretch, but I'll concede that. But the point I'm making is when you think of Buffy, I don't necessarily think of it made monsters cool. I can't really, or it was even in that genre of all the monsters are kind of cool and sexy. Like, it never really felt like that.
They had a praying mantis woman that would eat the heads off of teen boys that she would sleep with.
Yeah, that wasn't that sexy.
That's what they were going for. Sex was a huge part of that one.
Yeah, of that individual episode. Oh, Jesus Christ, Matt! Let's get off Buffy because I feel like
I only brought that up because I thought that this was just gonna be Pete going, "Yeah, this was a movie. I didn't like it." So I needed to bring a icebreaker, if you will, into this, and it's worked because we're sitting at like 14 minutes now. Like
yes, we've barely talked about that movie because you brought your icebreaker.
Yeah. No, we talk. Lost Boys, directed by Joel Schumacher.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one we watched, unfortunately.
And starring Jason Patric, who, funnily enough, as I pointed out to my wife as we were watching this last night, Last movie we did was Speed, and then Jason Patric was brought in to replace Keanu Reeves in Speed 2.
Oh, was that
So
him? Oh,
yeah, that was him.
fancy that.
Other than that, I don't know what happened to Jason Patric. I know he showed up on Entourage, but other than that,
yeah, you said that name as if I should know who that is, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's the main guy.
yeah, that's Michael.
Yeah. One of your idiots from Bill and Ted were in this as well. They were the vampires.
Yes. Yep.
The one who's not Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. It was Bill. Alex Winter. Who's gone on to become I talked about this on the Bill and Ted episode, but he's become quite the documentary director. So I'm still looking forward to Bill and Ted 3. I know it kind of fell through, but my fingers are crossed.
Yeah. So what do I like about this movie? I kind of hate the vampires. Do you know what? I've never been a fan of the vampires flying around bullshit.
So you like them either to be like man-bat vampires, where they're self-propelled flight because they're giant bats, versus just like the I can hover and levitate type.
I would rather neither, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
It's just not flying. Vampires don't need to fly. There's enough stuff going on. And if they are going to fly, then yeah, turn into a bat. But even that feels goofy to me. I'm not a big fan of that trope. But like this stuff in this movie where it's this POV shot of like something flying in the sky and like coming down to swoop at people, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
It has not aged well, particularly.
No.
They feel very, very over the top camp versus scary. Like there's very little in this movie I would deem scary. Just consider the fact that I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies as a kid, but this was on. This one was perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a horror movie really. It's just it's a early teen friendly movie that happens to have vampires in it more than anything else.
This was in the steady rotation with like Monster Squad and Goonies. So, and I feel like there's parts of Monster Squad that are more scary than anything in Lost Boys.
I don't remember anything of that being scary either, but I'm not someone who really defines things being scary. I mean, me and Tim do a horror movie show, and we never talk about how something. Or I don't think we ever do. We don't really think about things as this scary because it's not really how we view horror movies.
See, that's my first prism for horror movies is if they're scary or not. If I get a good jump out of it.
This is the thing though, but so many horror movies that probably would make you jump don't really scare me, and I don't necessarily use that as a qualifier as to it.
Well, no, but you, how old were you when you watched Commando for the first time?
Oh, probably like 5, but
yeah.
What's your point? Like,
I'm just saying, you have a different threshold when it comes to movie.
Well, yeah, but Matt, what I'm saying here though is I can't use that as a barometer of quality because to me it's not something that happens that often. If my barometer for a horror movie was is it scary or not, then I'd like almost none of them.
Oh, jeez.
And that's not true. I love tons of them. They don't have to scare me to be good. I'm
not saying that's a qualifier either. I'm just saying, like, as a young kid, this wasn't one that my parents were like, "Oh, he can't watch that because there's vampires in it," you know. Like,
yeah, no, but you were bringing up how there's nothing in this that's really scary, but you said Monster Squad did have scary stuff.
Yeah.
But my complaints about this would not be that it's not scary, or is it?
No, I was just using that as a perspective for vampire movies, and like again, the frame of reference where I'm coming from, that this was worked in there, like this was okay, whereas Monster Squad was on the line of okay, not okay. You know, that's like Mom's Not Home, go ahead, watch Monster Squad. That's what that one was, you know? So that's just as a personal frame of reference. Because when you think vampires, you're thinking, at least I think, you know, there's got to be some gore. They drink blood, you know?
Yeah, I don't like vampires in this. I don't like the campiness of it. It doesn't really work for me too much. I feel very similar to this the same way I do Fright Night, the original Fright Night, which I'm not a big fan of either. It's that campy 80s vampire kind of thing.
I didn't see Fright Night until I saw the remake, and I actually kind of preferred the remake. I thought it was a better made movie.
Yeah, I never saw the remake, but so I much prefer Near Dark to this. I think Near Dark's a much more serious take, and it's not so much that it doesn't have any humor in it, or it doesn't have any levity, or it's just dead serious the whole time, but they actually have menace, they actually have presence. Whereas in this, they're just kind of goofy villains that are there for the sake of the plot. And you know, I don't really like. I don't know. I feel there's a lot of leaps that are taken in this movie where it's like.
Oh, big time.
Where it's like people just know things about vampires, or like at one point I was questioning, where do these two brothers get all this holy water from that they're filling up a bathtub with? Like, where's that coming from exactly? What's going on?
There's a lot of leaps that I never noticed before, just in the story and how quick the story moves. Because the movie starts off, you have these two boys move from Phoenix with their mom. The mom's divorcing the dad, so they move in with Grandpa. Grandpa lives up in Northern California in this town called Santa Carla. And the amount of time that it takes Michael, who's the older brother, to get ingratiated to like basically the local biker gang of these young hoodlums takes like 6 minutes of movie time. You know?
Yeah,
like,
it's not a lot.
It's not a lot. And I understand that's to get the plot started, but there's nothing really there either. It's, you know, is Michael becoming a vampire? Is this what's going on? You know, what's Strange Things? Who's the lead vampire? You know, and that's the central mystery. But it moves almost too fast.
Yeah.
Like, this is an hour and a half movie that could have been 2.
That's another thing I'm not really a big fan of, is the whole head vampire thing, and that'll fix everyone else in the coven, or whatever you call it, the pack, the family, whatever it is. I don't know. There's lots of annoying vampire tropes in this that I just really don't like, and it really bugs me. I think Corey Haim's character is kind of annoying. I think he's a little douchebag, who, like I say, acts inappropriately young most of the time until he's just been a little asshole, and it feels like there's nothing to really latch on to. I feel like the big brother is just kind of your typical kind of quiet, cool guy that they're going for. He's not very likable or interesting. Kiefer Sutherland in this, like I'm not feeling it.
I mean, he's himself. Like, I feel there's very little the director asked him to do other than be like, just be yourself, Kiefer.
Do you know what? It reminded me of the Smallville episode where Whitney gets gets involved with this group of criminals who steal things because they inject themselves with kryptonite tattoos so they can walk through walls or be invisible or something like that. It reminded me a lot of that episode. It's like them initiating them and putting them through all these like prank things, and then eventually him becoming one of them. It reminded me of that bizarrely. And obviously I'm not saying it copied that because Smallville was later. I'm just saying that I don't know. I'm saying that this type of plot just kind of bugs me, and I'm not that into it. It's not well handled.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I just, you know, I do enjoy the humor. That's what I love the Frog Brothers, because it took till this rewatch to realize that Corey Feldman's basically doing a Sylvester Stallone Rambo impersonation the entire movie.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I never really realized that before, and then I put 2 and 2 together, but yeah, they come on real quick. I would have liked more time for them. But no, I enjoy the campiness aspects of it. The stuff that you don't like with the story, I do. You know, the whole initiation and this whole what's going on in Santa Carla, because as they pull in behind the sign, it says murder capital of the world, you know, in graffiti behind the welcome to town billboard. And throughout the opening montage or sequence, you see all these like missing people posters plastered everywhere. And, you know, if it's an epidemic, how come this town doesn't act like it? And I love the questions it poses. Now, the answer is, on the other hand, that's a whole other problem, because they still don't really answer that. Like, is it just these vampires? Are there more? Is there a vampire sitting on the city council keeping it quiet? You know, I also could see, you know, I brought up Buffy, but definitely True Blood. Without Lost Boys, I don't feel like True Blood ever happens. You know, like the book series or anything like that. I think that's more of a fair comparison.
I can see that. I can see that. I don't know. There's so much about this movie that annoys me. And it's not so much that it's objectively bad. Like I think it's a mediocre movie overall, just in terms of its construction or whatever. But it's full of these things that just kind of bug me personally. The way that it's trying to be cool, which is kind of, I think, what bugs me the most about your comment about, oh, Buffy made vampires cool and that, is like, one of the things I like about Buffy is that it doesn't do that. I hate the cool vampire thing quite a bit. I hate the vampires in this with a passion. I don't enjoy them as a menace. I don't enjoy them as interesting characters. I would cut out the older brother. I'd cut that entire thing out. I'd have it just be about, I mean, probably what Donner was going to do, where it was just the younger characters who were hunting a vampire. I could totally see that. It probably actually, there's a movie I watched this year called Summer of '84, which is about a group of young kids about sort of the 14-ish age range, where they think one of their neighbours is a serial killer. And it's about them trying to investigate that, and that's what the movie's about. And it's handled pretty well. It gets quite dark as it goes on as well.
I need to see that one. That one's been escaping me.
It's pretty damn good once it gets going. And I feel like that's maybe something that if they'd focus... Because the one moment in this movie where I kind of get into it a little bit more, although I feel like it was then completely ruined when it actually went through with it, is the idea that, okay, once all the plot had been set up, and it was like, okay, we have antagonized the vampires, they're coming after sundown, we have to prepare the house for a siege. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I like about 80s movies like this. I like this idea of them being proactive and setting up the plan and waiting for that big final fight. I like that stuff a lot. The actual final fight when they get there, though, I didn't really like that much, but...
I'm a fan of that whole sequence. No, I just like...
The final fight with David, in particular, I just thought was laughably bad. I was not into it at all.
Yeah. But see, again, that's where I enjoy the campiness of it. And I don't know if Schumacher was going for it or if it just has become campy as time goes on. But I just, from the antlers and all of that stuff, I enjoy it.
It's not so much that there can't be any campiness to vampires for me, because I think even Buffy does have some campiness here or there. But it's always very self-aware campiness. It's always just the right amount, whereas I feel like this is just super campy. It's just like campy turned up to 11. There's nothing about it I can take seriously. At least in Buffy, when there's a campy vampire element, the actual character plot that it'd be like involved in would maybe have more of a more dramatic weight to it, and it would maybe the funniness of the campiness would actually be kind of making a point, or it'd be maybe at least easing up the tension of everything else that's going on emotionally. There'd be a use for it in some way. Whereas this, like, I don't really care about the characters. I don't really care about what's going on. I don't care about the love interest or the younger vampire that she cares about. Also, what the hell was with the rock concert thing towards the start with the guy who's like wearing like just underwear on stage?
It's Joel Schumacher. I don't know. This is the man that put nipples on the bat suit. So, like, yeah, saxophone. Like, that is the most jack saxophonist I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he spent more time singing than he did playing saxophone.
Playing saxophone, yeah. So,
yeah, they were really into that for some reason. Yeah. I'm not sure. Everyone was like,
I don't know either. I do like the soundtrack for the most part, though. Like the Lost Boys theme, Cry Little Sister.
Yeah, that's not
nice,
bad.
Creepy.
I'll give you the song. The song's not bad.
Yeah, and there's a cover of that Doors song, When You're Strange, that plays at the beginning. I don't think that's the Doors. At least it doesn't sound like them. But I like that. That sets the tone for the movie. I don't feel like the movie lives up to that missing persons type of vibe with that song. But yeah, I think the soundtrack's really good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, the Frog Brothers. Jason Patric, I think, is fine. Like he's the angsty, moody older brother, from the start, and him turning into a vampire, I don't think changes too much. I think we get some nice comedic elements from him and his brother, because there's that scene as he's trying to, his younger brother's trying to call mom and whatnot, and he's floating outside. So that gives me a chuckle. But yeah.
All right. Well, I'll give the spoiler warning then, I think, just so we can talk about things a bit more freely. So, full spoilers. Yeah, I hate the twist at the end. I'll say that.
So funnily enough, have you seen most of the episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I've seen a lot of them when I was a kid, but I mean, it's been a while.
So there's a werewolf episode that completely rips this off. That entire scene at dinner where they invite Max over, they think Max, is the mom's suitor, is the head vampire, and they make him eat garlic, and you know, there's a scene in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark where they do that, but with werewolf stuff instead of vampire. And when I was younger, I had seen that first and then this, and I thought Lost Boys was ripping off Are You Afraid of the Dark. I got really upset. And then, as you know, when you get older, you realize that, you know, this predates Are You Afraid of the Dark by quite a number of years.
Yeah.
But
I don't know why you'd even get upset at it, though. It's not that big a deal.
You know, authenticity has always been a big thing with me, even as a youngin'.
Yeah. Because that's the other thing. They never explain really how he actually passed all those tests, did they?
Well, yeah, they did. Yeah, he says that, which goes against every vampire lore I've ever heard, where he goes, "Oh, if you invite me in, none of that works." So basically, you're saying
that was the explanation.
Yeah. He goes, "Because you invited me in, I have no weaknesses."
Oh, bullshit.
Which, if that's the case, which that has never sat well with me. But you feel that was just a lazy right around for them to get around that.
It was a lazy way for the twist to be like dispelled early on, so that it could go gotcha at the end, and it's like, nah, piss off. So because it's the guy that their mum's kind of starting to date. He turns out to be the lead vampire, and the grandfather comes in and, you know, with a truck and all the big wooden stakes, and it kills him. And that's kind of how the movie ends.
Now, that's my favorite part of the movie is the final line with Grandpa. Just because no one bothered to ask him about him. So Grandpa comes in, saves the day, kills that lead vampire, and just goes, you know, that's the thing about Santa Carla, is all the damn vampires. And then the movie just ends, and it's just, again, that begs more questions. And you know, when I was gone earlier in the month, we drove through Santa Cruz, which they used, that whole boardwalk is the Santa Cruz boardwalk, which I never realized until now watching it, that I was walking through that same spots. But the entire time we were in Santa Cruz, I kept quoting that to my wife, to which she got so tired of hearing it. So, you know, but yeah, bar none favorite. And that's another funny thing is that I watched Blossom in the 90s, and that was Grandpa Buzz. So to see him play this crazy grandpa that, you know, was a hippie and is probably out back, you know, doing things, was just a weird thing to experience.
I'm in the final lines, whatever. I don't really care.
Oh man,
I don't give a shit, man. That's the problem. You pick something you don't intentionally know I don't like, and I just, like, it's not one that I can deconstruct and say here's why it's a fail. I think it's just a thoroughly generic movie through and through that rushes through that rushes through its plot beats. I don't like most of the characters. I don't think it's I don't think it's got any charm. It wants to have charm. It's trying very hard to have charm.
I disagree there. I find this movie very charming.
Oh God, no.
I find there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to like here. Like, it's not like the best movie. Like, it's not, you know, it might be my top vampire movies, but I haven't seen a lot of vampire movies, to be fair. So
this would even be in my top 20 vampire movies.
Oh no, I don't expect it to be. You've seen far more horror twinge movies than I have. Well, you've seen more movies than I have, just in general.
But
but yeah.
I have never understood the infatuation with this, and it typically, obviously, this is not apply to you, but I feel like more often than not, when I meet a fan of this movie, typically it's because they think some of the people in it are hot. It tends to be ladies who love the Feldmans or love the main Patrick, like, you know,
Jason Patric.
They'll be into the hunks, and do you know how, like, if I like movies because I thought an actress was hot, do you know how many movies I'd like?
True.
This is no, I hate it. I started off to say I don't hate it. I just think it's really mediocre, and that's true. But when I start talking about why other people like it, I hate it.
I get that because I get that with certain comic books. I get that with certain TV shows. You know, like, I don't have an opinion of it, like, here or there. But then when I hear someone going on about it and they like the things that annoy me, it makes me not like it. I mean, Doctor Who was like that forever. You know, I was just like, okay, we get it, timey-wimey, blah, 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 blah. You know? But yeah.
And I am fussy with vampires. There's a lot of vampire, like, movies and media that I just hate. Like, I hate certain interpretations of vampires.
You love Twilight, right?
Piss off. And there's a thing, like Twilight wouldn't exist without Buffy. But if Buffy wasn't there to rip off, like Twilight wouldn't exist.
True.
And I don't hate Buffy.
See, I
that.
feel like Twilight takes what even Lost Boys did by making like sexy vampires, and it takes it to the nth degree, and it makes vampires makes them uninteresting. And I feel like the vampires here, there's something about them. I don't know if it's just I'm reading too much into the Peter Pan-ness of them and the title, The Lost Boys, you know? But there's a Peter Pan quality that kind of gets lost, I feel, in parts of the script. Whereas with Twilight, and as I've seen too much Twilight, there's nothing there for me.
I don't know. It's just not my type of vampire. There's not enough there. I don't like the characters. I don't like the vampire. I don't think any of the movies particularly well shot or atmospheric.
You don't like anything in the Vampire Lair, like the set design there.
Not really.
Oh, I love that. I just love that.
It feels like such a typical movie set to me.
Oh, see, that's why I like it. I like it because it only exists in the movies. You know, like
and it's the same thing because actually, if you want to compare it to Buffy, the Master's lair is not that different from this. But I do think the Master was one of the weakest villains in Buffy and had the cheesiest kind of setup. That's something Buffy outgrew after its first season.
Yeah, well, it didn't need to do the whole freak of the week, you know, like it was doing with the vampire, or the Master. I don't call him the Vampire Master. You can just call him the Master.
He's just the Master.
It's there.
It's I don't know. I'll probably.
Wait, where was the Master's lair? Was it in a sinkhole?
Yeah, it was an underground like church that had went down an earthquake.
See, I gotta rewatch Buffy. I gotta get on this.
Yeah.
Because I totally forgot that. I knew it was underground, but I didn't realize it was a church, or I don't remember that it was a church that had done. And Sunnydale was meant to be up in Northern California, right?
I think so.
Or is it just anywhere California? Like, because there's a Sunnyvale up there, but
I can't remember specifically if it was just California in general or Northern California, but definitely California. Yeah. I have nothing interesting else to add to this. I don't really think I do. I dislike it. This is one of the things is that when you suggest certain movies like this, Matt, I'm like, not only do I not want to watch it, I genuinely worry for what the conversation is going to be at the end.
Yeah.
Because
again, that's why I did some research so we can get more legs out of this.
Because it's not like the Halloween remake where I despise that, but like I have like I could write
Venom
a dissertation about what's wrong with that movie. This is not a movie that has that many things wrong with it on an objective level. I just dislike most of the things about it. And then I dislike it more because people seem to love it for some reason, and it's exactly what I don't want in vampire movies. And if you like it, love it away. I don't care. It's really fine. But I just no. Near Dark's better.
That's fine. I need to watch Near Dark. Put that up for about one time.
Near Dark's a much better movie. Buffy's obviously much better. I mean, Buffy's better than most vampire things.
Once I get caught up on all my shows that I need to catch up on, I might start a Buffy rewatch.
Oh dear.
My wife's never seen it. Like, she's seen a couple episodes here or there, but and even last season I missed quite a bit of episodes. So need to rectify that. So okay, we'll talk about this offline. I was going to ask you how to watch it. Do
sure.
I intersperse Angel? Do I watch Angel by itself?
Oh, you intersperse, absolutely.
Okay.
When you get to that point, you intersperse.
Gotcha.
So it's essentially a 12-season watch rather than a 7-season watch, but that's what you're doing. But yeah. Lo and behold, we talked more about Buffy this episode than we did about Lost Boys, because Buffy's much more interesting than Lost Boys.
Again, we could have talked about Sleepy Hollow, and you could have just hated it because it's Tim Burton, and you know, you could have been like, objectively, this movie was poorly made, but we'll never know.
Well, no, because that's the thing. It's not that Tim Burton's a poor director necessarily. I just really hate his style. I hate his art choices. Yeah. So I think we'd be in a similar boat there, to be honest.
I don't think so. I think the Venom that you have from Burton would have come out. I definitely feel names would have been called.
Yeah.
No.
Like, no, I mean, I'll go ahead and say I think this is one of the worst reviews we've ever done because I've just been sat here and being petty and complained about stuff. And I'm aware of that.
That's the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Being petty and complaining about
Yeah,
stuff.
but our standards are usually higher than this, Matt. Usually the conversation's better. Usually there's analysis going on. Usually there's...
I really thought, given the choice, you would have picked Sleepy Hollow over The Lost Boys. I really thought that.
And I don't know. I don't like
Lesson
it.
learned. Lesson to me has been learned that don't let Pete make the decisions. That let...
You're not supposed to give me a choice back. You're supposed to just pick something, but you were like, I can't pick. You pick one of my two options.
I know. It was a what's that called? A dead man's switch? Where if you let go, you blow up? What's that called? That's like, I know that if in action movie tropes where the bomber has a bomb that if he gets shot and lets go of it, everyone's gonna go. I think that's called a dead man switch. That's kind of what this was.
I think the other thing is that for anything in this movie that is something that I kind of like about 80s movies, I've seen another 10 80s movies do it better.
I doubt that you've seen 80s movie do Jami Gertz better than here.
Who?
Jami Gertz.
Who's
she
that?
was the star. The girl. Yeah.
What the attractive love interest is kind of mysterious? Yes, I've seen other movies do that better.
I don't know, but none of them were Jami Gertz, so... I had such a crush on her growing up.
Well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Matt only likes this because he thinks someone's hot. Maybe I was incorrect in that earlier assessment.
I did say that's why I like most Ryan Gosling movies. I got trampled over. But, like, he is dreamy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it. This has been a terrible review. I have nothing really insightful to say. I just don't like it. That's basically the sum of it.
Here's proof of Pete can be petty. For as much as he likes to stay up in his ivory tower.
Hey, for most things, I think I do a good job, but there's a few things where I'll get petty.
You do, but this is a nice reminder that you are human. You're not a robot or a vampire, and that everyone has a limit.
Yeah.
And there's no way this review was worse than Under the Skin, because no way.
No, I think it is because Under the Skin, at least I was trying to analyze it and like sort of deconstruct what the movie was.
Right, because you were like, no, idiot, you didn't get it. This is what was going on.
I never said that. I never said those words.
But I've been recording with you long enough. I know your tones.
Look, there may have been an implication, but I never said those words. High ground. Maintaining the high ground.
So Pete.
Yes.
This is like ripping the Band-Aid off. Because now I got to know your score.
A 4.
Because you keep saying it's mediocre, so to me, your mediocre is somewhere between 4 and 5.
Yeah, it's like a 4.5 for me, something there. Okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just really annoying to me. I just don't like anything that it does. Also, actually, we can't stop with it having this conversation. Matt, explain to me the comic book conversation early on in this film about Batman 14 only having 4 copies. Explain that.
I don't know. That makes no sense.
And then he picks up an issue in Action Comics and says, oh, you can't put the Superman in the 200s next to the 8. I'm like, nothing in this makes sense.
Bro, I did when I was a younger kid. I did pop for when he would bring up Red Kryptonite, because you never really heard about that stuff. You know, even before like Smallville. But here, I'm just like, no, man, you don't understand comic book numbering whatsoever. You need to step out of that comic book store and leave those boys alone.
Yeah, or even the way he says, oh, I'm looking for Batman 14, and Corey Feldman goes, that's a serious comic. I'm like, shut up. Whoever wrote this dialogue has never read a comic book in their goddamn life.
Yeah, also that comic book store is a monstrosity. Everything looked out of order. Nothing had any, you know...
That's because they probably just got a bunch of comics and put them up on the wall as quickly as possible for the set.
Yeah. I mean, in storyline, it's also 2 brothers running it, and their parents are probably off doing whatever else, you know? So, but yeah.
Oh, dear.
So you scored it. I have to score it. And now it's like, oh, do I give it a naturally high score because I enjoy the campiness of it? But no, I mean, this is like a 6.5. I do enjoy it. If it's on TV, I sit and watch parts of it. But this is the first time I've watched it straight through.
The premise of this show is to pick something you love, so that it could be pit against something I love.
Hey, I do love this movie, but
everything about it. I hate this coolness they're trying to go for. It's just feels so fabricated. I don't like it.
I think they're cool. I went and bought a leather jacket right after this.
Campy vampires, POV flying shots, Kiefer Sutherland like hamming it up and like chewing the scenery.
So let's do a bit of fan service, I guess you could call it. What is your favorite movie vampire? Let the people know.
Movie vampire?
Yeah. Take Buffy out of it, right? I think that has to be from a movie.
Wait, vampire movie or movie vampire? There's a difference.
Movie vampire.
Probably Klaus Kinski's Nosferatu.
So you're okay. So are you saying Count Orlok, or are you saying? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Shadow of a Vampire. You're talking about the one in the remake.
79. Yeah, and the original silent film they called it Count Orlok because they couldn't get the rights. But Dracula became public domain, so in the 79 version he's still called Dracula.
Oh.
But I am referring to him as Nosferatu because that's what the movie's called.
Well, when you said that, I was going Klaus Kinski. That's not he wasn't the original actor. Then I started thinking maybe you meant the one with Malkovich, and then I got confused and I went, oh no, there's the Werner Herzog Nosferatu.
Yeah, Werner Herzog Nosferatu. Yeah. Not my favorite vampire movie, but probably my favorite movie vampire.
All right, well, give me your favorite vampire movie then.
Oh, let the right one in. Easy.
Okay, well, duh. I knew that. Shouldn't have been surprised.
Let the right one in. Near Dark. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. There's your good vampire movies.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Piss off. No. No, that's actually worse than Lost Boys.
Even 10-year-old me knew that movie was terrible.
That's
10-year-old me like terrible things. So, yeah.
And obviously classics. The original Dracula's pretty enjoyable and whatnot.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I don't like that one.
That one's terrible. Keanu. I love Keanu, but no.
I think the pacing in that movie is horrendous, so I think it ruins everything that's going on in that movie. I don't know. There's probably others that I'm forgetting, but those are the ones that spring to
my
mind.
favorite vampire movies is Dracula Dead and Loving It. I'm a sucker for Mel Brooks. He had Mel Brooks and vampires.
Even Mel Brooks fans hate that movie, Matt.
Oh, I love that one. Probably because I watched it with my great grandpa before he passed. I have good memories. But God, he loved Mel Brooks. So yeah.
All right, let's put this miserable review out of its misery, shall we?
Oh, that's right.
This has been kind of a review of Lost Boys, although it's a bit of a shambles in that sense. Do not judge our quality by this review. Check out all the other stuff we review from time to time. Other movies on Influx and Gigawatts and everything else. Yes, so the winner of the next vote, which I think will be a much more interesting conversation, is Assault on Precinct 13, the John Carpenter original film. So that's the next vote coming up. For the month of November. This is actually October's episode late because Matt was moving house last month and a bunch of other things getting in the way and caused delays and whatnot. The ripples which are still being felt in other stuff as well. But so look forward to that. Let us know what you think of Lost Boys in the comments below. Tell me how wrong I am. Go on, I'm waiting for it. I'm expecting it all. Hit me with it. I don't care.
I'm tweeting this at Jake because Jake loves this movie. And he also is like a dog with a bone once he gets his mindset to something. So, yeah.
Well, it's pish. She's got bad taste. All right, moving on. Guys, on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, if you want to be a part of the voting for the next one, you can do that over there. We've not decided on what the both options are yet, although Matt did pick his, but we'll keep it silent for now since we don't know both of them. And that'll be up soon at the $5 tier. But the $1 tier, of course, if you want to support us for $1, that's amazing as well. You get these episodes a week early, you get some other stuff early, you get a few extra things here or there as well. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.